Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer
Merry Christmas.
on AM 560.
Ho, ho, ho.
The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Just one postscript on that interview we did with Renee and Jimmy Masney. So I understand that the coach's mom, who is providing a home for Jimmy while he attends Marion Central in Woodstock, that she had done that before for a student that didn't play sports, just for the access to the academic quality that is provided by Marion Central Catholic. So, I mean, that certainly does inform the idea that it's more about the opportunity to go to that school for academic reasons than it is about sort of improper recruiting, that it's not sports that's the prism, it's the school's academic reputation, and particularly as it relates to families in Illinois that don't have similar options locally. And frankly, Jimmy's decision to say, I'm staying at Marion Central, even if I can't wrestle, also speaks to that as well. And I mean, at best, I would say for the IHSA, it smacks of selective enforcement of something that is rarely enforced. I mean, we know, you and I, Amy, both know boys basketball coaches in CPS who made careers out of recruiting basketball talent from one part of the city to the other. I won't name any names. Sonny Landon Cox.
Well, it's selective enrollment. Like with that, you have principal's discretion, and they take certain athletes that are needed on certain teams, mostly high-profile ones like football and basketball, and that's how they get in the school.
Well, right, and so it's also sort of the larger philosophy that kids should be able to go where they want.
I know.
And and so a private school, even if a private school, the only reason that private school recruiting is it's tisk is because you have a centrally planned K through 12 system that locks kids in based on their geography. If you had a competitive K through 12 system, the way that we have a competitive collegiate system that's not bounded by the artificial lines of a district drawn by, central planners, then all of this goes away. So, for anybody who's skeptical, the mom's doing something that's, not consistent with the spirit. Yeah, but it's a Soviet style system. So she's doing what's in the best interest of her kid, and he's doing the same apparently. So I don't know. It's an interesting case for those reasons because it speaks to the way the system's set up in the first place, as well as the selective enforcement by IHSA, which is not exactly a body, if you remember how they performed during COVID, that deserves any sort of benefit of the doubt in my mind. Okay. Had to get that out. Now we want to update our Food for the Poor holiday campaign. We are getting close, I think, to maxing out our business benefactor program. We've got a bunch of new businesses that have signed up, including the Freedom Boat Club of Chicago and Michiana. I like that name, Freedom Boat Club. Mathnasium of Chicagoland, where Amy Jacobson was a stand-up mathlete. D&W Law Group, Heart Puzzles, General Parts, Tyson Roofing, and many, many more. How do other businesses join the Business Benefactor Program, Amy, before it's all filled up?
Well, and again, this is the best deal in all of Chicagoland radio. I know that my dentist is in the process of signing up, and I heard that your dentist is as well, so that's good. It's really the best way to take your business to the next level and get some new clients because like-minded people stick together, that's for sure. So to become a business benefactor, we're asking for a one-time donation of $2,500. It's tax deductible. And as a way of saying thank you, we will give you 40 one-minute commercials that will air right here Monday through Friday. We can even voice your commercials if you would like. Just call Ann Jeanette. Ready to write down the number? It is 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951. Get on this. Do it sooner rather than later and see what happens to your business, because we've had a lot of advertisers start out as business benefactors like Turnkey IT. Tom Sadaikin, Precision Payroll, he started out there. Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, and they're still advertising with us today because it worked. So try it out. You have nothing to lose, and it could be a win-win. You're helping 65 children. I mean, imagine that for 1 year, feeding them 65 kids. It's such a great gift for them, and then you'll see your business grow. The number again, 847-472-8951.
For more on how things are proceeding with our campaign and the overall effort that Food for the Poor makes in Central America to provide life-saving food and water and help build infrastructure for families that are on the brink of starvation in countries that just can't take care of their own, unfortunately. We're pleased to be joined again by Paul Jacobs, who's with Food for the Poor. Paul, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, good morning and Merry Christmas. I still can't get out of my head the standout mathlete that was Amy Jacobson. I can just
Surprising.
imagine, right?
Yeah.
I can imagine her as like a young teenage girl getting one of those Christmas gifts, the Casio watch with the calculator on it, and like being just falling to pieces, saying "Thanks, Mom and Dad."
She was, if you've seen Freaks and Geeks, she was like the Mia Bialik character in that. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not
man.
Freaks and Geeks, but Big Bang Theory. I'm sorry.
Big Bang Theory.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Yes.
Freaks and Geeks was better. But anyway, I digress. So
That's the Dan Proft story.
That's
Yes,
the 80s
right.
Dan Proft story, right?
Yes, right. Freaks and Geeks, and I was the cool burnout James Franco character. Yeah, just as much as Amy was a mathlete, that was me. All right, so Paul Jacobs, tell us how the campaign's going. You know, these are tough times for a lot of people.
It is. Yeah.
Bidenflation is, doing a number on a lot of people's bank accounts.
No, that's exactly right. But what I'm really excited about is you went through the list of all those business benefactors. These are businesses. These are organizations that have said they've come together at this very pivotal time in the year where they've turned their attention away from themselves and turned their attention outward to these families, to these children. Their gift of $2,500 and the list of them, providing 62 children food for an entire year. But one of the things that really stood out to me was community. I thought about that. I thought about how the community of businesses, and I pray that each and every one of you listening under the sound of our voice right now, take note of all those business benefactors and go back and frequent their business, because what they have effectively done is they've turned a gift of $2,500, and because Food for the Poor has a match, doubling their gift, that means every dollar of that $2,500 is going to be doubled with twice as much food for children. That will effectively save children's lives. Right now, when you talk about the situation that is taking place as we do our last minute Christmas shopping, right? I don't know about you, but I'm last minute clicking on Amazon or last minute running to the local store, the mall or whatever. What's happening right now is food has become scarce in island nations like where we took Amy just a number of years ago in Haiti. We're talking about the after effects of COVID has literally stopped all normalcy in a place like Haiti. But the one thing that it hasn't stopped, the one thing that rising inflation hasn't stopped, or the skyrocketing food prices has not stopped, is Food for the Poor's desire and focus to make sure that these families are getting the food that they need. We have not stopped in the midst of COVID, in the midst of civil unrest or rising costs. There are dry food rations being distributed out to churches throughout the regions instead of pastors coming to our location because they basically can't get in because whether roads are blocked or they just can't afford to drive in. Fuel costs have risen so high. Food for the Poor has still made the effort to open up regional feeding centers through trusted, vetted partners in these areas so that these families can eat every day.
And by the way, Amy, I just got a text from my dentist, Dr. Fidgel. He signed up yesterday, so my dentist is in, and I think we're still waiting for confirmation from Dr. Favia, so I'm just saying.
It'll get there.
Chop, chop.
Yes. And if you're a business benefactor, talk about that one-time donation of $2,500. What exactly will they get for that kind donation? How many kids will they be helping?
That's 62 children eating every single day for an entire year. From this moment that you give until this time next year, 2 meals a day.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's sort of incredible, the numbers in terms of the relatively small amount of money that feeds so many people for such a long period of time. I mean, how do you guys do that exactly?
That's the miracle in everything. First of all, Food for the Poor more than 40 years ago began ministering, and it began in prayer. Let's just really say what it is. It began as a one man, our founder, praying, God, use me, and I will literally lay everything down in a very successful business career that I can help the poor. And it became as a food program to a church in Kingston, Jamaica, and it's grown to primarily 17 countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. And also for the last 40 years, we have maintained trusted partnerships through prayer. But the way that the strength of how we can basically turn $2,500 into 62 children eating for the entire year is the fact that, number one, a lot of food is donated. We have trusted partners that donate food. So maybe we just simply have to get the food shipped from that point, wherever it may be coming from in the United States, or maybe even the Taiwanese government, who donates thousands of metric tons of rice to our ports in Port-au-Prince. And then there's the fact that we are a ministry organization. We're not paying the government. We're not paying tariffs and fees that are exorbitant, and it is causing us to literally turn that cost over to our donors. No, we don't have any of that, so we do not have to pay any of these fees getting in. And then, of course, the strength of what we do in the countries, whether it's Haiti, it's Guatemala, it's Honduras, it's partnerships. It's partners that take the food from the ports, take the food from our distribution centers, and Amy, you've seen it firsthand, and they go out into these hospitals, out into these schools, out into these feeding centers regionally to make sure that families in far-reaching communities you may not even find on a map, is going to eat this Christmas, this New Year, and every day for the next year.
And you also help out at orphanages, which, it's surprising, like moms giving their kids away just because they can't feed them.
Saint Dominique Montesino Orphanage, where you traveled in Haiti, is a beacon of what Food for the Poor does. Here are children abandoned, set aside for no fault of their own. Many of those children, you may remember, Amy, those children were orphaned because of the earthquake in 2010, and now they're here in this orphanage. But they're learning school, they're going to school, they're learning skills, they're getting food every single day, and they're becoming contributing members of the Haitian community. These children aren't just a burden on the country, they're not burden on the community, they're becoming a part of a vital future, of a vibrant future, for the future of Haiti.
And that's the thing, too, in terms of Food for the Poor, when you're thinking about your charitable dollar and what provides the biggest return on that investment that people make. It's not that there's not other good organizations out there, but I mean, if this is something of interest to you, you can't just replicate the trust relationships and the partnerships that Food for the Poor has built up over the last 4 decades in these areas. And so there's nothing that's like it. And so there's nothing that's as efficient as Food for the Poor when it comes to, this specific mission.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned that, Dan, because one of the things that was striking to me, one of my last trips to Haiti, was we went into a community called Kadwa. It was about 3 hours out from Port-au-Prince. Now, 3 hours, and Amy will tell you, 3 hours out is it's not that far, but it's the roads.
There's no infrastructure. They haven't fixed some of the roads since the earthquake.
Right, exactly. So you're talking about an isolated community. But when we came in, they saw the Food for the Poor logo on the truck. It's the ichthus fish, the symbol of Christianity. Mm-hmm. It's the cross. When they saw that, they knew someone was there that was going to help. And the pastor even said, I have heard of you. And I was going to make a trip into Port-au-Prince to see if we can find help. And you found us. And now that community is thriving. That community has food every day. In fact, donors initiated the building of a community center as well as a sugarcane factory, because sugarcane grows just wild in that community, and became an industry for them so that they could get an income generating activity that they could get a hand up in their community and earn a living.
Again, Food for the Poor has been doing the work that Paul's describing for 40 years, 17 countries. They've fed millions of people around the world and provided more than $15 billion with a B dollars in aid. We're looking for a gift of just $80. That can feed 2 children for a year, speaking about just how efficient Food for the Poor is. For a gift of $320, you can feed 8 children for an entire year. To make a gift of any amount, You just call 844-862-4673 or visit us online. You can donate online at 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. Paul Jacobs, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Merry Christmas. God bless you.
Too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Santa's coming to town. Oh my God!
On AM 560.
Santa here? I know him.
The Answer.
Long day. Time to charge up.
Hey, just like my delivery truck.
Even kids know to keep business moving forward, it's time to make the switch to electric vehicles. Whether you have one van or a whole fleet of trucks, resources are available to help you make the changes that make sense.
Let's go.
Beep, beep.
Go to ComEd.com/clean to learn more about how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
Lots of channels, nothing to watch, especially if you're looking outside of big corporate control. It's time to interrupt your regularly scheduled programs with something worth watching. The new Salem News Channel. Straightforward, unfiltered, in-depth insight and analysis from the greatest collection of conservative minds, all in one place. SNC is home to Dennis Prager, Mike Gallagher, Sebastian Gorka, and more. Watch anytime on any screen. Free 24/7. Find what you're looking for at snc.tv.
All right. Do something for yourself. Feel good doing something for yourself, that is, too. But take Balance of Nature. Why? We're not getting enough fruits and veggies on our own, and that's where Balance of Nature comes in. They take the fruits and vegetables, and they turn it into a powdery substance after an advanced vacuum cold process, which stabilizes the maximum nutrient content. Real food, real nutrition. And people who take it love it. They do feel good that they're doing something for themselves. And when you give your body the best possible fuel, you do have more energy, you're stronger, and then guess what? You can sleep better at night. Love my Balance of Nature. 800-246-8751. 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago because you'll get 35% off and free shipping if you're a first timer. Or you can go online to balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago. 'Tis the season to think boating. Yes, Freedom Boat Club is the world's original and largest members-only boat club, now with 20-plus locations near you throughout Greater Chicagoland, Wisconsin, Northwest Indiana, and Southwest Michigan, plus 375 nationwide and global locations. Join Boat in Freedom's warm weather harbors now and think spring. Your membership enables access to their massive fleet of late model boats, slipped, insured, stored, maintained, cleaned, and ready for your use. Just pick the location of choice, reserve a boat, show up at the dock, and go boating. Membership includes training to enhance boating skills and comfort level at the helm. It's never been easier to give the gift of boating. Imagine the smile on the face of your loved ones when they realize they just became boaters. Joining is easy. Go to freedomboatclub.com, find a location near you, zoom in on the map, and select the location that works best for you. That's freedomboatclub.com or call 888-781-7363. At Freedom Boat Club, boating season never ends. Merry Christmas.
Attention!